Good day, folks. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Saad Rehman. Yes, we have Faraz Zaidi, and without having me introduce him, I'll let him have the opportunity to say. So, Faraz, can you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit first?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Faraz, as Hassan mentioned. I have a PhD in data mining and visual analytics. Got a couple of masters in algorithms and complexity, masters in software engineering. I came here in Canada in 2015 and I started looking for a job. It took me about 3 months to land my first job, which was as a data analyst. So I started kind of like from a very junior level position, even though I had a PhD. I did not find a job here in Toronto. I had to move up north, 400 kilometers from Toronto. It's a small city called North Bay. It was a tech company, and obviously they were struggling to find someone with tech skills. So that's the first breakthrough that I got. Eventually, then I stayed there for 1 year. Started looking for jobs here in Toronto. Took me around another 6 months to land a job here in Toronto. Then moved back here in 2017 and started working here as a data scientist and I've been here since.
Oh, nice. So, interesting enough that you mentioned that you moved out to North Bay. A lot of folks don't adopt that strategy, but how was it? How did it work out for you? Like, how did you get to the conclusion that you need to move from here?
So I was, to be honest, when I applied for that job, I did not know that it was in North Bay. I just looked at it was in Ontario, and I just kept applying for all the jobs that matched my profile. My initial goal was to land a job in my own field. So that was kind of like the criteria I said. I know that a lot of people struggle and they have to do odd jobs. I was like trying to focus. At least my initial thought process was that let's give it 3 months to find a job in my own industry, and if I don't succeed, then I'll try to kind of like look for odd jobs and try to move my way back into my field. But luckily enough, after 3 months, I got this opportunity. One more thing that I would like to add is during that period, I was interviewed in two different companies here in Toronto. I got to a good like I passed through their technical interviews and all that. But eventually, the one thing that was lacking was lack of industry experience because I had an academic background and no Canadian experience as well. So I believe that those were the two major reasons that were holding me back. So I said, I mean, if someone's offering me a job and as long as it's in my field of expertise, I mean, I was ready to move out to of Toronto.
Nice. And Raj, you also do teaching. Can you explain a little bit what, and you do sessions and I've heard a lot of and you do a lot of talks. How does that all add up?
So yeah, so I've been really active, especially on LinkedIn. So that helps. Then I've attended lots of conferences here. So my current company sponsors me to actually attend these conferences. So once you start going to these conferences, you kind of like build your connections, you meet new people, and eventually that helps to build your kind of like social network. And one thing leads to the other. So a lot of people contact me to come in and speak at their conferences. So, I mean, I've already.
And that's a good thing that you mentioned, because I guess in order to establish your presence in a domain, you have to do a LinkedIn presence. So, want to expand a little bit about that, because I've seen people establish a brand for themselves as well doing that.
Ex- yeah, exactly. So this is really interesting for me as well because about a couple of years ago, I think it's or at least over a year ago. I mean, something happened and people started to contact me for no reason. So I don't know what happened. Something happened in the algorithm, or the post that I was sharing was like people started to like them or whatever. But every week I get at least two to three people who contact me, and they're looking for jobs, they're looking for guidance, they want help because they are newly landed immigrant or they have newly graduated from school. So I mean, it's been a fun ride. So honest to God, I mean, I think I've reviewed over 1,000 resumes, and I've tried to help as many people as I can. You imagine for the past year or so, I've been like working with people, and so it's been really good experience for me.
And that's, I think, one thing that Canada is really big is on the whole volunteer component of it, right? And so a little bit about that. And
Yeah, sure. So one of the important suggestions that I give to people who have newly landed here in Canada is try to find some volunteer work. So it actually helps you to do two things. Although I have never actually volunteered directly before my job, now I do. But what it helps you to do is kind of like show your ability of being able to work in a Canadian work environment. So that's one of the major assets that you can gain with a little bit of investment of your time, and basically build your profile from there on. So that helps companies kind of like filter out people who have newly landed but they don't have any Canadian experience.
Nice. Thank you, Faraz, for your time. Just one last question, if you could answer. If somebody who is just arriving in Canada has a similar profile to you, what is it that they should be doing?
Yeah, so I believe the data science market is there's a big demand for data scientists, but also there's a big demand for the right skills. So normally people come in with like half of the skills for that are required for a job description. So what I recommend is keep learning, keep taking online courses. There's lots of material out there freely available on YouTube and on lots of like online websites like Udemy and stuff. So what I will recommend is if you're looking for a data scientist position, just Google data scientist jobs and kind of like identify the key skills that are required for a data scientist. If you're looking for a data engineering job, if you're looking for a big data engineer, if you're looking for a data modeler, business analyst, all those roles, they require specific skills. If you don't have all the skills to match the job requirement, you won't be called in for an interview. There's likely chance that you're going to get that job. So I would recommend that try to fill in all the gaps that you have in your resumes to match the exact job description. That helps actually.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Faraz, for this nice insights this morning today and for taking the time out to talk to us. So I'm sure if anybody wants to reach out, we'll have your LinkedIn profile added to this YouTube video so they can probably reach out, right?
Sure. Thank you. No
Thank you so
problem.
much, Faraz. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye bye.